everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of GoSpeakly English podcast. Oh my goodness, I am so thrilled to have you here today because we've got something really special lined up for you.
Absolutely. Hey everyone, Daniel here, and let me tell you, today's topic is one that Sophie and I are genuinely excited about. Like, seriously excited.
Yes. So before we dive in, let me introduce myself properly for anyone who's new here. I'm Sophie, and I've been teaching English for about 8 years now. I've worked with students from all over the world, and honestly, one of the most rewarding parts of my job is seeing people gain confidence in their communication skills.
And I'm Daniel, Sophie's co-host here at GoSpeakly English podcast. I love languages, I love traveling, and I absolutely love helping people break through those communication barriers that sometimes hold us back.
You know what? That's exactly what today's episode is all about. We're going to talk about something that many of our listeners have asked us about. How do you actually talk to people when you're traveling? How do you connect with locals in a way that feels natural and genuine?
Right, because traveling is amazing, but let's be honest, it can also be a little intimidating sometimes, especially when you're trying to communicate in English, or maybe you're in a place where English isn't the first language.
Exactly. So today we're covering, drumroll please, how to talk while traveling and connect with locals anywhere.
Ooh, I love this topic.
Me too. And listen, before we get started, if you're enjoying this conversation, if you're finding value in what we share here at GoSpeakly English Podcast, do us a small favor. Just hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe share this with a friend who loves traveling or wants to improve their English communication skills.
Yeah, it really helps us reach more people and create more content like this for you. We genuinely appreciate every single one of you who takes a moment to do that.
All right, so let's set the scene here. Imagine you've just landed in a new city. Maybe it's Bangkok, maybe it's Paris, could be Mexico City, doesn't matter where. You step out of the airport. You've got your luggage, you're excited, but also a little nervous because everything is unfamiliar.
Been there.
And then comes that moment when you need to talk to someone. Maybe it's asking for directions, maybe it's ordering food, or just having a casual chat with someone at a coffee shop. That's where today's episode comes in handy.
So true. You know, Sophie, I remember my first solo trip to Japan. I was so worried about the language barrier, but what I discovered was that people everywhere, appreciate it when you make an effort to connect with them.
Oh, absolutely. And that's such an important point. People can feel your energy, your intention. If you approach someone with genuine curiosity and respect, most of the time they'll respond positively, regardless of language differences. Okay, so let's break this down into practical parts. Part 1, we're going to talk about starting conversations and breaking the ice with locals when you're traveling.
This is crucial because that first interaction sets the tone for everything else.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think they need perfect grammar or a huge vocabulary to talk to locals, but that's really not true. What matters more is your attitude and your willingness to engage.
Right. I mean, think about it. When someone visits your country and tries to speak your language, even if they make mistakes, don't you usually find it endearing? Don't you want to help them?
Yes, exactly that. So the first tip I want to share is this. Start with a smile and a simple greeting. It sounds basic, but it's so powerful.
It really is. Like when you smile at someone and say hello, good morning, or whatever's appropriate in that culture, you're immediately creating a friendly atmosphere.
And here's a little secret from my 8 years of teaching. The word hello is understood in so many places around the world. But if you can learn just 1 or 2 greetings in the local language, oh my goodness, that changes everything.
True. I'll never forget when I was in Morocco and I learned to say Salam alaikum, which means peace be upon you. The way people's faces lit up when I greeted them in Arabic, even though my pronunciation was probably terrible, it was amazing.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You showed respect for their culture and people notice that. They appreciate the effort. So listeners, here's your first action step. Before you travel somewhere, learn at least 3 phrases in the local language. Hello, thank you, and excuse me.
Those 3 can get you so far.
So far. Now let's talk about actual conversation starters. You're at a cafe, you're on a bus, you're at a viewpoint looking at a beautiful sunset. How do you start talking to someone nearby?
Okay, this is where it gets interesting because you don't want to seem pushy or intrusive, right?
Exactly. The key is to be natural and observational. Comment on something in your shared environment. For example, if you're both looking at the same landmark, you could say something like, "Wow, this view is incredible, isn't it?"
Simple, genuine, non-threatening.
Right. Or if you're in a restaurant and you see someone eating something that looks delicious, you could say, "Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but that looks really good. What is it?"
I've done that so many times. And you know what? Most people are happy to share their recommendations. They feel proud to talk about their local cuisine.
Absolutely. Food is actually one of the best conversation starters when you're traveling. People love talking about food. It's universal.
So true. What about situations where you actually need help, like you're lost or you need directions?
Great question. So when you need to ask for help, here's the approach that works best. First, apologize for the interruption. Say something like, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost. Could you help me?"
And notice how that's phrased. You're being polite, you're acknowledging that you're interrupting their day, and you're asking, not demanding.
Yes, the way you frame your request matters so much. Compare that to just saying, "Hey, where is this place?" One feels respectful, the other feels demanding.
Big difference.
Now, here's something I want to emphasize because I see this mistake a lot with my students. When you're asking for help, don't just say thank you and walk away immediately after getting your answer.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, add a little bit more. Say something like, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. This is my first time here, and everyone has been so kind."
That's nice because you're not just thanking them for the information, you're also complimenting them and their city or country.
Exactly. And often that opens up the conversation even more. They might ask you where you're from, how long you're staying, what you think of their city so far.
And just like that, you've made a connection.
Just like that. You know, I had this beautiful experience when I was traveling in Portugal. I asked an elderly lady for directions to a particular church. And she not only told me how to get there, but she also warned me that it would be closed for lunch between 1 and 3.
Oh, that's helpful.
Right? And then she recommended a nearby bakery where I should try the pastel de nata while I waited. We ended up chatting for about 10 minutes, and she told me about the history of the neighborhood. It was such a lovely moment, and it only happened because I took the time to be warm and genuine in my approach.
Those are the moments that make traveling special, aren't they? It's not just about seeing famous monuments, it's about connecting with real people and hearing their stories.
Absolutely. So let's talk about another scenario. You're on public transportation, maybe a train or a bus, and you notice someone sitting nearby. How do you strike up a conversation without being awkward?
Okay, this one can be tricky because some cultures are more open to chatting with strangers than others.
True, very true. So you need to read the situation. Look for signals. Is the person wearing headphones? Are they reading a book or looking at their phone intently? If yes, they probably want to be left alone.
Respect those boundaries.
Yes, please. But if someone seems relaxed, maybe they're looking out the window or they seem open, you can try a gentle opener. Something like, "Sorry, is this your first time on this route? I'm trying to figure out where to get off."
That's good because even if they're not chatty, they'll usually help you with practical information.
Exactly. And if they seem friendly and talkative, you can follow up with more. Ask them if they're from the area. Ask for recommendations about things to see or places to eat.
People love giving recommendations. It makes them feel helpful and knowledgeable.
Here's another tip that I think is really important. When you're talking to locals, show genuine interest in their answers. Don't just ask questions like you're checking items off a list.
Right. Actually listen to what they're saying.
Yes. If someone tells you about a local festival happening next week, respond with enthusiasm. Say something like, "Oh, wow, that sounds fascinating. What kind of activities happen during the festival?"
Follow-up questions show that you're really engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. And you know what else? Don't be afraid to share a little about yourself, too. Conversation is a two-way street. If someone asks where you're from, don't just say the name of your country and stop. Add some color to it.
Like how?
Well, instead of just saying, "I'm from Canada," you could say, "I'm from Canada, from a city called Vancouver. It's on the West Coast, surrounded by mountains and ocean. It's beautiful, but very rainy."
See, that's so much more interesting. You're painting a picture. You're giving them something to respond to.
Right. And often they'll say something like, "Oh, I've always wanted to visit Canada," or "My cousin lives in Toronto," or "I love rainy weather." And boom, you've got more to talk about.
Conversation momentum.
Exactly that. Now, let's address something that a lot of our listeners worry about. What if you don't understand what someone is saying to you? What if their accent is strong or they're speaking too fast?
Oh, this happens all the time when traveling.
All the time. And here's what you do. First, don't panic. Don't smile and nod if you didn't understand, because that can lead to confusion later.
Yeah, I've made that mistake before. Just agreeing to something I didn't actually understand.
We've all been there. So instead, politely ask them to repeat. You can say, "I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say that again, please?"
And there's no shame in that. It's much better to ask for clarification than to pretend you understood.
Absolutely. You can also ask them to speak a bit slower. Say something like, "Sorry, English isn't my first language. Could you speak a little slower? I want to make sure I understand you correctly."
Most people will be very accommodating when you explain that.
They will. And here's another strategy. If you're still not understanding, ask them to show you or write it down. For example, if someone is giving you directions and you're confused, you could say, "Would you mind writing down the street name for me?" Or, "Could you point it out on this map?"
Visual aids can be lifesavers.
They really can. Now, I want to talk about something that might seem small, but makes a big difference. Body language.
Oh, yes, this is huge.
When you're traveling and communicating across language barriers, your body language sometimes speaks louder than your words. Make eye contact, but not in an intense way. Smile naturally. Keep your posture open. Don't cross your arms.
And be mindful that body language can mean different things in different cultures.
Great point. For example, in some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as respectful and shows you're paying attention. In others, too much eye contact can be seen as aggressive or disrespectful, especially with elders.
So it's good to do a little research about cultural norms before you travel.
Definitely. But generally speaking, a warm smile is universally understood as friendly. Use that to your advantage.
Absolutely. Sophie, what about humor? Should people try to be funny when talking to locals?
Ooh, good question. Humor can be wonderful, but it can also be tricky because humor often doesn't translate well across cultures and languages.
Yeah, jokes can fall flat or even be misunderstood.
Right. So my advice is to keep it light and simple. Self-deprecating humor usually works well. Like, if you mispronounce something, you can laugh at yourself and say, "Oh gosh, I'm really butchering your language, aren't I?"
That's endearing, not offensive.
Exactly. People usually find it charming when you can laugh at your own mistakes. It shows humility and that you're not taking yourself too seriously.
Makes you more relatable, too.
For sure. Okay, so we've covered starting conversations, asking for help, dealing with language barriers, and body language. Before we move to part 2, let me just recap some key points from part 1.
Yes, let's do that.
So, number 1, approach people with a smile and genuine warmth. Number 2, learn a few basic phrases in the local language. Number 3, use your environment as conversation starters. Number 4, be polite and respectful when asking for help. Number 5, show real interest in people's responses. Number 6, don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you don't understand. And number 7, Be mindful of your body language.
Those 7 tips right there will transform your travel conversations.
They really will. And remember, the goal isn't to have perfect English or perfect conversations. The goal is to connect with people in a meaningful way.
Human connection transcends language.
Beautifully said. All right, let's take a breath here and move into part 2, where we're going to talk about deepening those connections, handling different social situations, and some cultural do's and don'ts. Okay, welcome to part 2. If you're just joining us, we're talking about how to talk while traveling and connect with locals anywhere. In part 1, we covered the basics of starting conversations and breaking the ice.
And now we're going to go deeper into actually building those connections and being culturally aware while you're doing it.
Yes, so let's start with this. You've successfully started a conversation with a local, maybe at a market, maybe at a restaurant, wherever. How do you keep that conversation going in a natural way?
Right, because sometimes after the initial exchange, there's that awkward silence where both people don't know what to say next.
Exactly. So here's what you do. Ask open-ended questions instead of yes or no questions. For example, instead of asking, is this market open every day? Which they can answer with just yes or no. Ask something like, when is the best time to visit this market?
Oh, that's smart because it invites them to share more information.
Right. They might tell you, oh, it's best to come early in the morning when the produce is fresh. Or they might say, come on Sundays when there are also local crafts and live music.
And suddenly, you've got more things to talk about.
Exactly. Another great open-ended question is, what do you love most about living here? People light up when you ask them that because it gives them a chance to share their personal connection to their home.
I love that question. I'm going to use that on my next trip.
Do it. You'll get such interesting answers. Some people will talk about the food, some about the natural beauty, others about the sense of community. Every answer gives you a window into their world.
So true. What about when you want to ask for recommendations, but you don't want to sound like a typical tourist just ticking off a checklist?
Ah, yes. So instead of asking, what are the top 10 things to do here, which sounds very guidebookish, try asking, if you had a friend visiting for just one day, where would you take them?
Oh, that's personal and specific.
Exactly. Or you could ask, what's a place that locals love but tourists usually don't know about? People love sharing their hidden gems.
And those are often the best experiences anyway, the ones off the beaten path.
Absolutely. I was in Vietnam last year and I asked a local woman at a coffee shop this exact question. She told me about this tiny family-run restaurant in a residential neighborhood that served the most incredible pho.
Amazing.
It was. I never would have found it on my own. And it was such an authentic experience. No tourists, just locals having their breakfast. And the family who ran it was so welcoming.
Those are the memories you treasure.
They really are. Okay, so let's talk about a situation that can be a bit sensitive. Talking about money and prices when you're traveling.
Oh yeah, this can get awkward sometimes.
It can, especially in places where bargaining is part of the culture. So first, understand whether bargaining is appropriate or not. In some places, like markets in Morocco or India, bargaining is expected. In other places, like Japan, it's actually considered rude.
Do your research beforehand.
Yes, please. Now, if you are in a place where bargaining is normal, do it respectfully. Don't be aggressive or insulting about the prices. Treat it like a friendly negotiation, not a battle.
Right, because there's a difference between negotiating and being disrespectful about someone's livelihood.
Exactly that. You can say something like, this is beautiful. I really love it. Is there any flexibility on the price? Or, I'm buying several items. Would you be able to give me a better price for all of them together?
That's fair and respectful.
And if the seller says no, accept it gracefully. Don't make a big scene or insult their products. Just say, I understand. Thank you anyway. And maybe I'll come back later.
Sometimes they'll actually call you back and offer a discount when they see you're willing to walk away politely.
Yes, that has happened to me several times. But the key is you're not being manipulative. You're genuinely being respectful of the process.
Absolutely. Sophie, what about tipping? That's another money-related thing that varies so much across cultures.
Oh my goodness, yes. Tipping customs are so different everywhere. In the United States, tipping 15 to 20% is expected in restaurants. In Japan, tipping is actually considered insulting. In some European countries, a small tip is appreciated but not mandatory.
So confusing.
It is. So again, do your research before you travel. Look up the tipping customs for the country you're visiting. And if you're unsure in the moment, you can politely ask a local or your hotel concierge.
Better to ask than to accidentally offend someone.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something really important. Reading social cues and knowing when to end a conversation.
Oh, this is crucial because you don't want to overstay your welcome.
Right. So pay attention to the other person's body language and responses. If they're giving short answers, if they're looking at their watch, if they seem distracted, those are signals that they might need to go.
Don't take it personally.
No, don't. People have lives. They have things to do. So if you notice those signs, gracefully wrap up the conversation. You can say something like, well, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really enjoyed it.
That's polite and considerate.
Yes. And if the conversation was particularly nice, you could add, it was so lovely meeting you. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Leave them with a positive feeling.
Exactly. Now, on the flip side, what if you're the one who needs to end the conversation, but the other person keeps talking?
Yeah, sometimes people are very chatty.
They are, and that's wonderful, but sometimes you do need to move on. So be honest but kind. You can say, I'm so sorry, but I actually need to get going. I have a tour starting in 20 minutes.
Give a reason. It's less abrupt.
Yes, and then add, but thank you so much for all your recommendations. I'm definitely going to check out that restaurant you mentioned.
Acknowledge what they shared with you.
Right. It shows you were listening and you valued the conversation, even though you need to leave now.
Perfect balance.
Okay, let's talk about exchanging contact information. Say you've had a really great conversation with someone and you'd like to stay in touch. How do you approach that?
This is interesting because it can feel a bit forward sometimes.
It can, but here's the thing. Most people are happy to connect if the interaction was genuine. So you can say something like, I've really enjoyed talking with you. Would you mind if we exchanged contact information? I'd love to stay in touch.
And nowadays, social media makes this really easy.
It does. You can say, are you on Instagram? Or do you use WhatsApp? Many people worldwide use these platforms, so it's a comfortable way to connect.
And it's less committal than exchanging phone numbers.
Exactly. But here's my advice. If you do exchange contact information, actually follow through. Don't just collect people's information and never reach out.
That's true. It's insincere if you ask for their contact and then never message them.
Right. So when you get back to your hotel or later that evening, send them a quick message. Say something like, hey, it's Sophie. We met at the market today. Thanks again for all your recommendations. Hope you have a great week.
Short, sweet, and genuine.
Yes. And who knows, maybe you'll visit that place again someday and you'll have a friend there. Or maybe they'll visit your country and you can return the favor and show them around.
I love when travel friendships turn into real long-term connections.
Me too. It makes the world feel smaller and more connected. All right, now let's talk about some cultural do's and don'ts, because this is so important when you're connecting with locals.
Yes, because what's polite in one culture might be rude in another.
Exactly. So first, do your homework before you travel. Read about basic etiquette, customs, and taboos of the place you're visiting. This shows respect and helps you avoid embarrassing situations.
What are some common things people should be aware of?
Okay, so one big one is personal space. In some cultures, people stand very close when talking. In others, people prefer more distance. Pay attention to how locals interact with each other and try to match that.
Good tip.
Another one is greetings. In some places, a handshake is standard. In others, it might be a bow or a kiss on the cheek or even just a hand over the heart. Watch what others do and follow their lead.
When in Rome,
Do as the Romans do.
Exactly that saying. Now, here's something specific. In many Asian cultures, pointing with your finger is considered rude. Instead, people gesture with their whole hand, or even with their chin.
I did not know about the chin thing.
Yes. In the Philippines, for example, people often point with their lips or chin. It's subtle, but it's the polite way to indicate direction.
Fascinating how these things vary.
Isn't it? Another important one, the concept of time. In some cultures, being exactly on time is crucial. In others, there is a more relaxed approach to time.
Like in Spain or Latin America, things often run on a more flexible schedule.
Right. Whereas in Germany or Japan, being late is seen as very disrespectful. So be aware of these differences and try to adapt.
What about topics of conversation? Are there things you should avoid talking about?
Great question. Generally speaking, when you first meet someone, it's best to avoid controversial topics like politics, religion, or making comparisons that put down their country.
Yeah, saying things like, oh, in my country, we do this better. That's not going to go over well.
Not at all. Instead, approach differences with curiosity, not judgment. If something is different from what you're used to, you can ask about it in a genuine way. Like, I noticed that people here do this differently than in my country. Can you tell me more about why?
That's respectful and shows you want to learn.
Exactly. People appreciate when you're genuinely interested in understanding their culture rather than criticizing it.
What about photography? Should people ask before taking photos?
Oh, absolutely. This is so important. Always ask permission before photographing people, especially in their private spaces or religious sites.
Even in public places?
Yes, even in public. You can say, "Excuse me, I love the colors of your shop. Would it be okay if I took a photo?" Or, "You look wonderful in that traditional dress. May I take your picture?"
Most people appreciate being asked.
They do, and if someone says no, respect that without arguing or trying to convince them. Just say, "No problem, I understand," and move on.
Simple as that.
Yep. Now, here's something about dining etiquette, because food is such a big part of travel. Different cultures have different table manners.
Like what?
Well, in some Asian countries, it's polite to slurp your noodles because it shows you're enjoying the food. In Western countries, slurping is generally considered bad manners.
Complete opposite.
Right? In some Middle Eastern and African countries, you eat with your right hand, and using your left hand for eating is considered unclean.
These are things you definitely want to know beforehand.
Absolutely. And if you're invited to someone's home for a meal, that's a huge honor. Bring a small gift, maybe something from your country, or flowers, or sweets, and always compliment the food, even if it's not to your taste.
Be gracious about the hospitality.
Yes, and try everything that's offered to you, at least a little bit, unless you have allergies or dietary restrictions. It shows respect for their culture and their cooking.
What if the food is really unusual or you're genuinely uncomfortable eating it?
Okay, so if it's something you absolutely cannot eat, be honest but tactful. You can say, "Thank you so much. This looks interesting, but I actually have a sensitive stomach and I'm a bit worried about trying new things right now. May I have a bit more of this other dish instead? It's delicious."
Redirect to something you can eat while still being complimentary.
Exactly. The key is not to make a face or seem disgusted, because that's insulting to your hosts.
Right. Be respectful even when declining.
All right, let's talk about language learning on the go. Even if you didn't study the local language before your trip, you can pick up words and phrases while you're there.
How do you do that effectively?
So, every day, try to learn at least 5 new words or 1 new phrase. Ask locals, how do you say this in your language? People love teaching visitors their language.
And they appreciate that you're trying.
Absolutely. Keep a little notebook or use your phone to write down new words. Practice them throughout the day. Say them out loud to yourself. Use them when you can.
Repetition is key.
It is. And don't worry about making mistakes. Locals will usually gently correct you, and that's actually a great way to learn.
Embrace the learning process.
Yes, and you know what? Even if your pronunciation is terrible, the effort matters more than perfection. People can see when you're genuinely trying versus when you're not bothering at all.
That effort creates goodwill.
It really does. Okay, here's something else. Technology can be your friend when traveling, but don't let it replace human interaction.
What do you mean?
Well, translation apps are amazing and super helpful. Google Translate, for example, can be a lifesaver, but don't hide behind your phone the entire time.
Use it as a tool, not a crutch.
Exactly. Use the app when you really need to communicate something complex, but also try to engage directly with people without the phone between you.
Balance.
Yes, because some of the best travel moments come from those slightly awkward, funny exchanges where you're using hand gestures and broken language to communicate.
Those make for the best stories later.
They really do. All right, we're coming toward the end here, but I want to leave our listeners with some final thoughts about mindset when traveling and talking to locals.
Yes, let's talk mindset.
Okay, so first and most important, approach every interaction with humility and openness. You're a guest in someone else's home, essentially. Act like it.
Be respectful and grateful.
Yes. Second, let go of the fear of looking foolish. You will make mistakes, you will mispronounce things, you might accidentally do something culturally inappropriate. It happens to everyone.
How you handle it matters.
Exactly. If you make a mistake, apologize, laugh at yourself if appropriate, and move on. Don't let embarrassment stop you from trying.
Growth happens outside your comfort zone.
Beautifully said. Third, be present in your conversations. Put your phone away, make eye contact, really listen to what people are saying.
Give people your full attention.
Yes. In our busy, distracted world, that's actually a rare gift. People notice when you're truly present with them.
It creates deeper connections.
It does. Fourth, remember that travel is a two-way exchange. Yes, you're there to experience their culture, but you also have something to share about your own culture.
Be proud of where you're from.
Absolutely. Share your traditions, your food, your stories. Cultural exchange goes both ways, and locals are often just as curious about your life as you are about theirs.
That's a great point.
And finally, keep a travel journal, or at least take notes about the conversations you have and the people you meet. These memories are precious.
You'll want to remember these moments.
You will. Years later, you might not remember every temple you visited or every museum you walked through, but you'll remember the kind stranger who helped you find your way, or the family who invited you to share their meal, or the shopkeeper who taught you how to say thank you in their language.
Those human connections are what make travel meaningful.
They truly are. So to all our listeners, I want to encourage you. The next time you travel, challenge yourself to have at least one meaningful conversation with a local every single day.
Just one conversation.
Just one. It doesn't have to be long or profound. Even a 5-minute chat with your taxi driver or the person serving you coffee counts.
Small interactions add up.
They do. And you'll be amazed at how much richer your travel experience becomes when you connect with real people instead of just seeing sights.
The world becomes friendlier.
It does. You realize that despite all our differences in language, culture, and background, people everywhere share the same basic desires. We want to be respected, we want to connect, we want to share our stories and hear others' stories.
Travel reminds us of our common humanity.
It really does. And every conversation you have, no matter how brief, is a little bridge between cultures, between worlds.
I love that image.
Me too. So go out there, talk to people, make mistakes, Laugh at yourself, be curious, be respectful, and be open. The world is full of amazing people just waiting to connect with you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you. All right, everyone. We've covered so much today. Let me do a quick recap of part 2 before we wrap up.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so in part 2, we talked about asking open-ended questions to deepen conversations, getting personalized recommendations from locals, navigating money and tipping situations respectfully, reading social cues and ending conversations gracefully, exchanging contact information and following through, understanding cultural do's and don'ts across different aspects of interaction, dining etiquette, learning language on the go, using technology wisely without letting it replace human connection, and finally, the mindset of humility, openness, and presence that makes all of this possible.
That's a comprehensive guide right there.
It is. And honestly, if you apply even half of what we talked about today, your travel experiences will transform.
Absolutely. So, listeners, we really hope this episode was helpful for you. Remember, communication is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice.
Yes, don't wait until your next trip to start practicing. You can apply these principles right now in your daily life. Talk to people in your own city or town. Practice being present, asking good questions, listening actively.
The skills are transferable.
They are. And when you do travel, you'll feel so much more confident because you've been practicing all along.
Love that approach.
All right, my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode of GoSpeakly English Podcast. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with anyone who loves traveling or wants to improve their English communication skills.
Yes, and if you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, leave us a comment. We read every single one, and we love hearing from you.
Your feedback helps us create better content for you.
It really does. And remember, with my 8 years of teaching experience, I can tell you this with confidence. You are capable of connecting with people anywhere in the world. You just need to believe in yourself and take that first step.
Start the conversation.
Start the conversation. The world is waiting to meet you.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep speaking.
Happy travels, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode.